1. There are 4 types of introverts: social, thinking, anxious, and restrained. Social introversion is what's commonly accepted and understood as the stereotypical definition of introversion. Social introverts prefer solitude or small groups of people over large gatherings. They'd rather stay home with a book or laptop or hang out with close friends than go to parties with many unfamiliar faces. Social introversion is different, however, from shyness, because there's no anxiety attached to their need for solitude. Thinking introversion is a newer concept. Thinking introverts are introspective, thoughtful, and self-reflective. Unlike social introverts, they don't feel a need to avoid large social scenes. Instead, they like to daydream, using their rich imaginations and creative capacities. Anxious introverts, on the other hand, seek time alone because they feel awkward and self-conscious. Unlike social introverts, they experience painful shyness around new people, and the anxiety doesn't necessarily go away when they're alone, because they let situations play over and over in their heads, contemplating what might have gone wrong. Lastly, restrained introverts function on a slower pace and prefer to think before they speak or act. They're also known for being reserved. They like to take their time, preventing impulse from affecting their decision-making. 2. Introverts react quickly to new information, but are slow to monitor change. Introverts' brains become more excited when they analyze what steps they must take in the future, but hesitate when they need to prepare for action, whereas extroverts need to minimize the thoughts in their heads to make a decision, but act quickly afterwards. 3. Introverts dread small talk. Introverts might seem disinterested in other people because they dislike small talk. However, they only dislike it because it creates barriers between them and others. Instead, introverts want to feel authentically connected, so they crave deep, meaningful conversations that help lower social walls. 4. Introverts need alone time. This is because introverts respond differently to rewards, such as food, money, sex, and social status, than extroverts do. Although they do care about eating, income, and relationships, they're less driven about and experience less enthusiasm for the possibilities of them. Extroverts, in contrast, are more excited to work for those rewards, which is why they're so prone to instant gratification more often than introverts. 5. Introverts are more careful and calculated about what risks to take. This is due to a difference in dopamine activity between introverts and extroverts' brains. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter associated with sensation-seeking, risks, and new adventures. Both introverts and extroverts have the same amount of it, but introverts' brains are less active in the region that generates dopamine. 6. Introverts are deep thinkers. Since introverts use less activity from dopamine, they rely more on a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. Like dopamine, it's linked to pleasure, but the pleasure is produced from turning inwards. This allows introverts to reflect deeply and stay focused on a single task for an extended period of time. Acetylcholine also influences them to prefer calm, quiet settings over loud, crowded places. 7. Introverts are more creative. Introverts need solitude to recharge, but it's also within solitude where they find creativity. Most artists and writers who identify as introverts produce their best work when they're by themselves, as opposed to in group settings. Additionally, people in general feel less self-conscious when they're alone, so being in solitude helps introverts feel safe to take risks that allow their creative juices to flow. 8. Introverts like the rain. Rain creates white noise that attracts introverts, because it signals opportunities for solitude. They find the calming effect pleasurable, since it allows them to escape within themselves for the time being. Rain helps lower expectations for the day as well, and isn't as overstimulating as the sun. 9. Pretending to be extroverted can have a negative effect on an introvert's performance. The time introverts spend on pretending to be people they're not disrupts their usual level of performance. It's important to realize and acknowledge this, since the world is so used to trying to mold introverts and extroverts. 10. Introverts might not prioritize happiness. Although we live in a culture that emphasizes happiness, introverts actually prefer to maintain a neutral emotional state when presented with tasks, such as taking a test, giving a speech, or thinking rationally. This is because happiness, an arousing emotion, may distract them from completing their tasks efficiently. Extroverts, on the other hand, prefer happiness because it acts as a motivator. Are you an introvert? If so,
a little mystery always keeps things more interesting. That's why introverts are one of a kind. With their unique insights, it's no surprise that many people fall for them. But how do we know if their feelings are mutual? Here are 13 subtle signs an introvert likes you. 1. They actually pick up the phone or call you. This is especially true for restrained introverts. This type of introvert is reserved and slowly opens up to others. If this sounds like your crush, slow and steady wins their heart. Preferring to think before they speak, texts are more of their speed and they often avoid phone calls. But if they make an exception for you, that's incredibly special. 2. They invite you into their personal space. Introverts like their space, especially after a long, busy week. But if they make plans with you to go over to their place, whether it's for dinner or a movie, it means that they would prefer your company over their solitude. 3. Or they accept your invitation and go out. Meeting new faces and socializing can be intimidating, especially for social introverts. They often enjoy the comfort of their own home and don't go out of their way to attend parties. So pay close attention to just how willing they are to leave their comfort zone just to see you. 4. They remember details about you. Speaking of close attention, introverts make natural detectives. Do they know you like the back of their hand when you've only mentioned things once? If they remember your birthday, your favorite things, your favorite K-pop group, and notice all the small details about you, there's a good chance that they might have feelings for you. 5. They don't shy away from personal topics. Thinking introverts have a knack for being deep and reflective. This makes it easy to be mesmerized by them in good conversation. When they talk about sensitive topics, whether it's about their tough childhood or losing a loved one, it's because they also enjoy what you offer to the table. 6. They become more romantic over time. With extroverts, the flame burns the most at the very beginning, but introverts operate on their own clock. When it comes to bonding, their affection for you grows stronger over time. Introverts are slow at opening up and aren't always the most direct, so the more your connection strengthens, the more affectionate they become. You'll never have to worry about the excitement dying out. 7. They keep your secrets and share theirs too. Winning the trust of introverts is often a slow dance. You must learn to sway before you tango. That's why it's so big when they learn to keep your secrets and tell you theirs. 8. They always keep in touch with you. This can be hard for them, especially for anxious introverts. Self-conscious and painfully shy, they often seek solitude, but sometimes the anxiety doesn't go away even when they are alone. If you catch one who makes an effort to stay in touch, it means that they feel comfortable around you, and that's a plus in their book. 9. They show you their collections. It's nerve-wracking for introverts to tell them how you feel. So they might resort to their favorite poetry or music collection to do all the talking. Yes, it's cheesy, but you have to admit it's also really cute. Bonus points if they show you something that's sentimental or personal, like a journal entry or secret art piece too. 10. They're loyal to you. Introverts make great partners because once they like you, they'll become protective. Although they don't like conflict, they won't shy away from it if it means that they're looking after you. 11. They go the extra mile, both literally and figuratively. They enjoy their space, so long-distance relationships don't scare them away. If they always check in on you and go out of their way to do you favors, they definitely have a soft spot for you. 12. They give you feedback. We all get a little frustrated along the way when we try to achieve our dreams. But you can always count on an introvert to offer great advice. If they always catch you when you're falling, you're a star in their pocket. 13. They step out of their comfort zone. Introverts are wired differently than extroverts and prefer to watch on the sidelines before jumping in. But when an introvert likes you, they're willing to make a move and try